Number one, you don't know what the numbers are in China. China tells you numbers, and I'm speaking to President Xi tonight, I believe, and we'll have a good conversation.
A U.S. intelligence report says that China lied about its numbers when it comes to the coronavirus, that they downplayed the number of infections, they downplayed the number of deaths, they delayed reporting that this was even a concern that the rest of the world should know about. This from an intelligence report filed with the White House last week, a report that U.S. President Donald Trump has mentioned. But if you ask the Trudeau government here in Canada what they think of this report, and if it's something we should worry about, you either get told it's something to worry about later, something to be concerned about right now, or a conspiracy theory from the internet. Those are three different answers given by the Trudeau government in one day. The Prime Minister was asked about it first at his daily briefing, and he essentially said, well, we'll get to that later. Let's deal with the pandemic first.
On how this was handled, what lessons are taken, who did well, who didn't do as well, and who was perhaps not as forthcoming with the global community as they should have been. Those are questions, though, for future times. Our focus right now is on getting through this in a way that keeps Canadians whole and safe.
On the one hand, I get his answer. His main concern is not finger-pointing right now. It is about dealing with the pandemic, and we can deal with this later. But here's the but. You have to actually know what the numbers are like. They're basing all of their modeling on what happened in China. They're trying to say, okay, here's what happened in China. What's going to happen here? And if the numbers out of China are bad, if they're flawed, if they're a bit light, as Donald Trump said, then that's going to impact our numbers. Are we getting the full picture? Have we ever gotten the full picture from China? That's entirely doubtful. Now, Francois-Philippe Champagne, he's the Foreign Affairs Minister, he was asked about this, and he said, yes, it's something to be concerned about. He was on a NATO conference call earlier in the day and said this topic came up. Obviously, the Americans are sharing some of the intelligence with their allies. That's a good thing, and it's good that Champagne is concerned. But I'm really concerned about Patty Hajdu. She is the health minister. She is the woman who is leading the charge on the health response to this pandemic, and she said it sounds like something of a conspiracy theory off the internet. Is that a serious response from a cabinet minister to a question about pandemics and whether we're getting the right information or whether China lied and people died? That's a real concern. That is not to be dismissed, and yet that is what she did. One day we're going to have to hold China to account for this, as my friend and colleague Laurie Goldstein said in his column the other day. It's obvious, though, that the Trudeau government won't be one of the governments that will be leading the charge on that. They've always been too close to China. They're always acquiescing to China, and that includes in the middle of this pandemic. Let's hope it doesn't impact critical decisions that need to be made in this country.